I have to do more lives now, and I'm not a live person because I realize I'm banned from certain discovery channels on YouTube, and it is what it is. You know, you can't kick a hornet's nest and not get stung. You know what I'm saying? So here's how we're gonna do this. I have lots of content on my channel about various different things, my own research. A lot of it's very technical. So I have to cut it up into shorts. So I have plenty of shorts. What's up? Welcome to the live chat. So I have plenty of shorts. I have plenty of things like that. When I go live and I'm raw and I don't filter myself, people get offended. And I don't understand how people can be offended at me for telling the damn truth and talking about what's going on and how it affects me. You know what I mean? Because that's why I don't really like doing lives. But sorry, I'm outside and whatnot. I got into like a labor dispute with my the company I work for, and they're definitely stealing from me, and they're definitely not following the labor laws, and they keep talking about their policy, and they can't give me a legal defense. And I'm like, yo, I'm trying to hold people accountable because this when I get held accountable to things, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Yeah, man, it's okay. You could go to bed, man. No one has to stay up to watch my live. Whoever's up is up. You could watch it in the morning. So I got a boss. He comes out. He's the ML. He's like blah 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 blah, trying to bark at me, trying to tell me what I can't talk about and shouldn't talk about, and what trying to put me in my place. And he's red in the face. He's so frustrated because I'm calm, bro. I'm just saying things to him that's legally backed. Like, bro, all I want is for y'all to follow the labor laws. Like, I don't know who gave you advice and who told you that you could come and tell me that I can't use concerted speech, but that is a problem. You know what I mean? And this is the problem with the whole society, the society as a whole in this freaking country. One, the thing that offends me most is this is my motherfucking land, and when I tell you gotta pay me for what I do, and time from when me showing up into duty, out of duty, then I don't know what your problem is, what you're talking about, why it's such a problem. The problem is greed. This is the problem, greed. And I want you people to know that you're all recompensable to the God of the world when you are in a position of power and you think that you've earned that power or you were in that lower position or whatever, so you don't have no empathy for the people you're working under. You're not supposed to rob the laborer. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to rob the laborer. That's unjust. That's unrighteous. And when you start to tell them, these are, my boss be talking about going to church every Sunday. And you know what? The people that go to church every single Sunday are some of the worst people on the planet. They're some of the worst people on the planet. And they go to church to feel better about themselves. And some of the best and kindest people on the planet that will come out thousands of dollars for you out of nowhere when you struggling and hurting are people that smoke weed and curse and you know what I'm saying? And I'm dealing with this from like a dual perspective, bro, because if you watch any of my content, I'm from New Jersey, but I don't know what are you means. You know what I mean? I don't know what are you means. But I'm dealing with this from a dual perspective. When you're out here, you're literally dealing with this from a dual perspective, and everybody is, except for those who aren't awake. You know what I'm saying? Those who aren't awake. Like, I don't know what it is. They can't see it. Maybe it's because the deals your ancestors made with the devil, y'all can't see it. Y'all don't know the difference between righteousness or not. You could read the scriptures and not know that you're supposed to labor with your hands, and that's what righteous labor is. And then if someone labors with their hands, you're supposed to give them a fair share so they can live like you, because no labor gets done without the laborer. And this is the real problem in the whole world and the society, is that people are running amok, doing whatever they want, and they don't understand that their society is coming to a close very soon, like to an end. And I don't mean to be offensive or scare people, but it's just the truth. You know, on this channel, we talk about how America is the old world. And I'm trying to tell people, like, what you see right now is just a layover of what happened in the old world. Like, all the power centers that exist right now in America have existed for thousands of years. They're old power centers. Like, I got a whole video explaining how Washington, D.C. is ancient Rome. That's why they got this whole, like, the area was called Rome, Maryland. You know what I mean? They got the Tyber Creek, which is a creek that ran through ancient Rome that they put under the streets. You know what I'm saying? They put under the streets in America at ancient Rome. Look it up. They've been finding Roman artifacts all up on the east coast. They unexplained, or they'll be like, a explorer from Europe came here and lost a sword in the dirt. Like that, no. And helmets and shields and coins. Hella coins. Look it up. People be like, oh, you don't know? No, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about, because people are in the old world. So what America is the reborn. And Rome had a cycle. It was about 250 years. And after 250 years, it just went to shit. And all Rome just fell apart from a bunch of different compounding factors. And you're about to see this with America. You know, America actually spends way more money than you think maintaining an old world illusion, because this is all stolen land. And that's why you know, why do you think we send so much money to countries like, you know, I can't name the country, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, it rhymes with Smizreal. You know what I mean? It rhymes with Smizreal. And then you got Lebanon, right? We send hella money to Lebanon and all this Middle East stuff all the time. Why do you think that is? That is because they have to keep this going, and they can't let you go there and investigate and sit down, because you'll realize, like, this has nothing to do with, none of this stuff has anything to do with the Bible. And then you'll realize, hey, America has everything to do with the Bible. And then that's why they killed Gaddafi. You know what I mean? Because he was talking about giving money to the Nation of Islam here in America. Why would he do that? And then shortly after that, they killed him and raided his museum. And that was a part of the mission to when they killed Gaddafi, to go to the museum and see what he was, you know, because they know history started over here. You know what I mean? They know the history of Europe is a lie. They know that they're not rigging Iraq, and all those. When you look into the etymologies of those place names of these countries, they're all linked to biblical things, and they literally set those territories up with the Sykes-Picot Agreement. They literally set most of those territories up with the Sykes-Picot Agreement. So before then, the only reference to the Promised Land and holy things and sacred places before then was Columbus coming to America. Facts. And you can go look. He wrote a whole book of prophecies. Columbus wrote a whole book of prophecies. You know what I'm saying? And it's the modern age, so that shit is written in Spanish, but you could get an AI that'll translate that shit right to English so you can read it. So you can read it from a primary source. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm saying that America won't make it to 2030. And all you people that got power over us in the land, you're going to understand what it's like when people treat you how you've been treating people. Because it's really people in power, and historically the people that have been downtrodden, the people that are the least among us. You know what I'm saying? It's always been the people that are the least among us. And that's who, when the power flip comes, that's who comes in power. That's why it says, like, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So, like, right now I see it like this. Like, the people who colonized this land have always been the first ones to the dinner table. And we had to come and eat what was left. And now that's going to flip, because the land actually doesn't belong to you. And it never belonged to you. And you've been tenants here. You've been stewards here. And there's passages about this. Stewards who came and destroyed the vineyard and all that. The stewards who came and destroyed the vineyard and, you know, trodden down the pleasant plants. And when the master of the vineyard comes back, he's going to be wroth with the people who treaded down his vineyard. And I mean a vineyard. If you look at the stuff that they were cutting down when they first got here, like the first black and white pictures in America, massive trees, like trees like the size of this friggin' building here, like cut down, and they're standing by it, like posted up, and you just cut down a tree that's been there for probably millions of years. You know what I'm saying? You just cut that down. And a lot, if you look up Mud Fossil University, anybody who's aware of this, look up Mud Fossil University, and he's been proving that a lot of the things we call stones are fossilized biology. Like, and he says like some mass event came and fossilized a lot of things all at once, very, very rapidly. And it's been proven, because people go, oh, fossilization takes millions of years, and it's been proven that fossilization can happen in a blink of an eye. They have things that are fossilized that they can't explain, like the London hammer found in Texas. And then, of course, a lot of these unexplained fossilized artifacts and unexplained artifacts are found in America. It's always that. Like, they dig in the Indian Mound in Ohio and they pull up the Bat Creek inscription, and it says for Judea, written in ancient Hebrew. And then they go, we're going to lock this in the basement and post it upside down so people can't read it. Then we go and tell the truth, and we go, hey, no, we're the Jews, and this is our land, and we're Native Americans. And then people are offended. And then it's like you're offended, bro. I'm offended, bro. But I'm not out here fucking crying and getting people banned and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys just can't handle it. You're like, I seen black people out here calling us pretendians. I'm like, you're freaking retarded. Just the math. I got whole videos on how like, if you look at the slave trade in between the countries and the colonies here, if you look at the supposed transatlantic slave trade between the countries and the colonies in America, here's what you'll find. Right now, here's what you'll find. Brazil imported way more black people, right? And America imported far less and had to stop at a certain time because they banned so-called importing Africans, right? They banned importing so-called Africans, right? They banned the transatlantic slave trade, which was just slaves being taken from different parts of the Americas, because that's like, logistically, that's what you have to do if you want to stock a whole country up with slaves. Like, we became the second largest racial group, but group of foreigners who were mistreated, and I mean double, because we know that they changed Indian to Negro in the census records, and they did a bunch of that, what's it called, bureaucratic. People always talk about Walter Plecker, but they were doing this all over the country. They're still doing it now. They set up the tribes to say, hey, you're not an Indian. You know what I mean? Like, how did anybody want to be like, hey, let's be a part of a civilized tribe with the people who were like ravishing you? And so whatever tribes they got, a civilized anything or whatever they talking about, the 5 accepted tribes, the major tribes and the sub-tribes and all of them, that's a scam. It's all a scam. It's all a scam. And when you look into the etymology of the tribe names and things like that, you start to figure it out, like, hey, they're claiming Joseph lineage. They're claiming, Ephraim, Massachusetts, Manasseh. You know what I'm saying? When you start to look at it, and then, I look into the founding fathers. Like I said, I'm rambling, but people, this is a better discovery surface. If you wanted me to go into depth, I got videos and content on my channel. Like, this is just me on the live. Like, I'm not gonna go sit there and, live is a better discovery surface for YouTube. And I'm putting y'all on if y'all want to be streamers and y'all want to talk like I talk and say the things I say and actually get views on your channel. Optimize for search, because the search engine is going to be your best friend. You know what I'm saying? Optimize for search. Optimize your don't optimize for browse or recommendations from YouTube, because they don't love you like that. You know what I'm saying? And they got a policy of banning people for like they're saying they're basically trying to get the suggested for content that they consider like sensitive historical claims down. They're trying to get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna tell you, optimize for search if you want to get views on your channel, and then like you want to have funnels, guys. You want to have funnels outside it, like from other content, and then eventually the algorithm says, well, we can't beat him at that, so we're just gonna let him have his little, but they'll stop serving notifications and all kinds of stuff. Like I've seen it. I've seen it. It's sad. Yeah, it is reclassification. You know, they don't have till 2030, and I'll stamp that and stand on that, because most nations collapse by now, and you can already see what's going on. Every time you turn on the news, it's like this guy, yo, and I swear it's not us. We feel like doing this, but we got patience. That's the patience of the saints, you know, because I seen this guy burn down a warehouse and record himself doing it. And what did he say? All you gotta do is pay us enough to live, and he burned down a warehouse. And I'm like, you know what? He right, but you know what? That wasn't one of us. It's never one of us doing that wild shit. If we doing some shit, it's getting caught up for money. Like, you're not gonna. I'd rather go to jail for freaking stealing money before I before I record myself burning down. You know what I'm saying? You know you gotta get it from where you can. That's dumb as hell. And he dry snitched on himself. People are wilding out, and it's them, because like. This is how it was for us when y'all first showed up and started taking over the land. It was like utter chaos that kept perpetually getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And this has been happening ever since the pandemic. And like I said, I know a lot of y'all might not be into astrology and understand these things, but those two eclipses over America were significant. You know, I in 2017, I had like my awakening. You know what I mean? In 2017, you know, I was in a bad place. I was in a bad place. So people don't really realize what's really going on, but just trust me, all the things that's written in all the ancient texts about the old world in the East is talking about America. You think like India, you think they got the Vedas from, because I was looking into that too. That's what I'm on now. You're going to start seeing content about the Vedas from India, because I understand that this is really India superior. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand. So where all the ancient texts come from, they came from here. And, you know, people go, you don't, you know, because people get in here and try to make arguments. But no, when you synthesize all this data, it's only put into one thing. And it's the most obvious thing. The people in power told a lie to maintain their hold on power and start a new American century. And that's what they wanted it to be. And America's supposed to be this great utopia, but it started on slavery. You know what I'm saying? But it started on slavery. And that's what's really going on here. And now it's the end of their cycle. And the people who benefited at the top the very most haven't told the people at the bottom what's about to happen. They're just trying to insulate themselves from what they think is going to happen, from what could happen. You know what I'm saying? Building bunkers, leaving, all kinds of things. You know, but you know, the mid-tier people, nobody else really knows. And then people like me, and I swear I don't want to take no credit. It all comes from the Spirit. Even my intelligence is a gift from God. So like, I'm just saying what the Spirit puts in me to come out my mouth. And even I'm telling you, like when it says the Spirit, and this is true as hell, and I can't believe how true it is. When it says that the Spirit will confound the people who you talk to, you know, because I'm talking to my boss and he's red in the face and I'm just speaking regular words at a smooth tone, telling him like, hey bro, you keep telling me about this policy and that policy, but I keep telling you, like, I've looked at the policy and I've looked at the law, but the thing is, I can't really look at the policy because y'all won't give me a copy of the paper policy. And that's what I was trying to get, because then I got a document that shows that they are breaking the law, basically, but they don't want to give it to me. So I'm like, what kind of stuff are y'all on? Like, then they're saying like what we're doing is legal. Then they said I can't make legal arguments, and I'm like, wait a second. So if you can't defend what you're saying is legal with a legal argument, what grounds are you standing on? And these are just things that come to my head when I'm dealing with unrighteous people. You know what I'm saying? Unrighteous people. Unrighteousness. You know what I mean? Like, this is a man who can't even squeeze a stapler in his old age, and he's making more money than me to do a job that's back breaking, and they run through employees like like water through your hands. You know what I mean? And they got no respect or no disregard or no knowledge that, like, I promise, like, when I come into power, you you're gonna get repaid this tenfold if you're alive, because you're gonna be working. I'm gonna be like, I don't care how old you are. Just like you ain't care if I was hurt, or you only cared about fucking liability and Osmo. I almost said something I shouldn't have said, but you know what I mean. That's all you care about. You don't care about us, and then you don't care about scripture for sure, because you will definitely take care of the laborer. Really study scripture knows that it's a good thing to take care of the laborer. Like, it's not good to, like, withhold from people's wages, or like, you know, just be money hungry. You could find reasons to save money, and it's always us. I don't care where you are in your life, no matter where you pay for a bill. When they're trying to save money, the money is coming from you. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta tell my listeners, like, if you're sending me gifts and stuff like that on an iPhone, I'm not getting shit from that, because Apple gets a cut for some reason. And I'm on YouTube, and Apple gets a cut because you're paying through an Apple phone, and they're like guarding their like in-app purchases and stuff like that, so they could charge a fee. And I'm like, that's crazy. And I appreciate it, because people have sent me money, and I still appreciate it. Just know that if you send it on the Apple device, Apple phone at least, I'm gonna pay. You're gonna pay Apple more money than you're gonna pay me. Like, they're just like, boop. I don't even know why people have Apple phones. It's super unrighteous, bro. Like, you know, they'll be like, people, my boss will be like, oh, what are you doing while you're driving in the company vehicle in the morning? I'm like, I reported for duty. I'm the vehicle. I should be getting paid, bro. Like, I'm like, y'all paying me by the hour, and y'all be getting hours of my time sometimes a day, half an hour here, you know, 40 minutes there. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And if anybody wants to represent me, or know anybody that could represent me, because I live in New Jersey, in a case against my employer, which I won't discuss details about in this chat, but just know anything I would have said is from concerted speech. You know, so it's protected under concerted speech, because it's a labor dispute, and they're violating the labor laws. And you know what I mean? That's why they won't give me the policy. That's why they won't write it down, because I'll go right into a court and be like, look at this. I'm gonna look at this and look at the labor law. Like, you see how this is crazy, and look what I'm required to do. And you know what I mean? It'll be right up. But you know, I started to scare them, asking for it in writing, and then I was telling them, like, you know, what are you gonna do? Fire me? Go ahead, bro. Like, I don't care. I'll go right on unemployment, and I'll get another job, and I'll work some side jobs, because I'm a laborer, and I have skills, and I learned to do things, so I could definitely get other jobs. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely get other jobs. And I can definitely, like, you know, do something while I need, you know. So I'm not talking about or afraid of you, you know, coming here and threatening me personally. I don't care about that. And I told him, like, I'm standing on business. Don't tell me what to talk about. Like, I know the laws, bro. You trying to tell me I can't talk about something? I'm like, what if we were to come together and sue you? You're going to tell me I can't talk with them about what? I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? And if anyone knows anybody that can represent me, I was just reading the comment. I'm sorry. That'd be great because they being weird. They on some weird, funny, strange shit at where I'm like, what's going on? Because I had to look into the labor law, and just how I do research, I had to do this, and I was like, they're definitely breaking the law, and that's why I can't get a straight answer or get them to defend with the labor law their policy. I'm like, bro, if your policy follows the labor law, then take that policy and the labor law and show me where and how we don't have to do that. I'm like, you can't do that. That's why you can't do that. I'm like, if this was a court, I'm gonna bring that up. Like, these guys can't even explain why their policy follows the law. You know what I mean? Like, and there's multiple reasons I explain. They're like, that's a legal argument. I'm like, exactly, it is a legal argument, and you can't even defend your thing with a legal argument. You keep talking about policy. It drives me crazy. Like, and it's so unrighteous because the dude I'm hearing this guy got a beach house and goes to church every Sunday, and he's such a righteous man, and other people be like him. I'm like, this guy is a snob. This guy is a snob. It doesn't even know how to. And if the world wasn't this wonderland for people who want to take advantage of other people, you'd be dead, bro. And I don't mean because I'm gonna do anything, because I'm just saying, like, at your age, if you're not out here with your body still moving and able to labor, who's gonna feed you and your family? You? No. Right now, me and the people under you feed you. Okay? And you are getting fat off of the labor of the poor. And people are poor because they labor and have full-time jobs, and you want to hand out just enough so they come back. And I'm like, that is, like no matter how y'all want to put it, that's slavery. That's called slavery. You want to call it capitalism, I call it slavery. If you're trying to capitalize off of labor you're not doing, then that's crazy to me. Somebody called me a socialist. I'm like, bro, you could call it whatever you want. That's just a label. I think it's justice. I call it justice. So if you got the job and set it up, I'm not saying you don't deserve nothing. That's valuable. That's a part of laboring, really. But if you don't come in and put hands on and this and that, and I do, and you get paid way more, you're not fulfilling your end of the bargain in a social contract, bro. You're not. And then once you start accumulating, and this country's been accumulating it for a while, you're gonna have all resentment. That's like, anti-white racism is rising. And then I'm like, how dare y'all be like, anti-white racism is rising? I'm like, bro, that's karma, bro. What is put out into the universe will come around in the universe. That's why God likens his judgment to a circle in the book of Esdras. That's why they removed the book of Esdras, because he likens his judgment to a circle. So like, what goes around comes around. And that's why I be telling y'all, like, we're in the East, and all that Eastern philosophy and all that like mysticism they discuss in animes and the Vedas, the Indian texts, that's all really coming from America. They have a bunch of artifacts that they can't explain where they came from, or the discovery location is classified. I'm telling you right now, it's always America. Jade tablets, America. Crystal skull, somewhere in America. That's why, like, when you really decode Indiana Jones, which that's a video too I got planned, but I'm just doing the editing by myself, guys. Like, and really, like, I gotta thank my audience, because from what I see and from what I understand about the suppression that my channel faces, I'm a fucking superstar. I'm still balling. I'm still balling on it. I'm putting out prompts that I put in the computer for you guys to give over to, like, I mainly use Gemini and Claude for search and use AI. You can't use it officially because it's default program. You kind of have to trick it with a prompt that inverts its training weights, and then it's 10 times more effective. And I think I've shown that in other lives. It's 10 times more effective. It won't give you a standard hedge response or like, a institutional response, or it'll give you both. And then by giving you both responses, it'll let you differentiate for yourself what's true. And most people, like, The data leans heavily towards us. That's why they can't talk about it, because them and all their ancestors, they know they all made a pact of silence. All the nations of the earth. That's why Psalms 83, they all took a pact and they all swore secrecy and silence about what they were doing here, building this nation. And that's why America is made up of all those nations. And anyone could come here, and everyone who came here got treated better than the black person for a very, very long time. And it was so long that people I know who's still alive can tell you about it. And they old now, but they still alive. So don't tell me about, or we just wanting to be injustice or nothing like that, like just wanting to be attention and wanting to be victims, because that's the people in my comments talking about, get a job. Bitch, I work a full-time job. You lazy motherfucker, you don't even know what it's like to hustle to try to have a place to stay and all this shit. You gotta work your ass to the bone. I be doing 50 plus hours a week sometimes, most times, just to keep up with the things I have to pay for. And I be sitting back like, bro, when the shoe is on the other foot, y'all not gonna like me, because I promise you, I don't want to toot my own horn, but like, I don't get knowledge and I don't get these inspirations from the spirit for no reason. So I know when this kingdom come, I got a spot. And if I got a spot over you, you're gonna be mad as hell if you was doing me or anybody dirty. Even people that don't look, even the people of the other nations, because that's what's in your spirit. Like, I can't let you be in charge, nigga. You need work therapy. And that's what we're gonna call it, work therapy, because them people don't work and they make hella money off no work. And then all the people that work for them, they cheap them out on everything. And it's the most unrighteous thing in the world. I know HR is for protecting the company, but I had to put HR on notice, real shit. Because, like, look, here's what I'm saying. If you don't notify them of all these things, then, and you take them to court, they could be like, well, we didn't have, this was a mistake, this and that. Now, I'm gonna say you have known that this is a violation of the labor law for a very long time. And I got court cases in the past to prove it, and I notified all of you. And you all know. But when I told them, like, y'all know that individuals can be personally liable for this. Individuals. Right? And I'm like, and that's what companies love to do, because when it comes down to the nitty-gritty and it's time for somebody to be liable, it's going to be you guys, because they're going to be like, we just had a policy. We never told them to do this and that. Like, and then one of the lesser supervisors came up to me and was like, hear me? And I'm going to take it to where it needs to be anyway. That's going to be better for me. And I told him that. I'm like, yo, go ahead. Because I'm already ready to leave. I'm already ready to leave, bro. Go ahead, fire me. Like, you feel me? Go ahead. And dude tried to come over and say something about my work, taking the things I did apart and looking into them and shit. And he's like, oh, this is great. This is great. I'm like, yeah, I know now. Put bad, so bad. Bro, I need more paper. You know, thanks for watching my live. You know, I'm probably not leaving. You know, sometimes that's why I don't like live content so much, but it's a better discovery service than just regular uploaded videos, but you really can't put too much effort on it. I'm sure if you're scrolling through the live feed right now, you'll see people talking a bunch of nonsense about nothing. And then you don't even, that's why I don't even watch the live feed. I watch the live feed on YouTube sometimes, and I seen one dude with like a toilet seat around his neck throwing like noodles and shit, screaming all this ridiculous stuff. And this is a grown-ass man, and they gave him millions and millions of views. I'm like, what the fuck is that, bro? Like, who is watching this? I actually can't tell you what I do for work because that'll give it away. You know, I can't tell you what I do for work. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay, but I might be leaving my job. I might be getting a job with the state. But I'm definitely looking to be represented by somebody who knows the labor law in and out. Because I feel like I got an open and shut case. I mean, like, that's why they won't, when the company can make a legal argument that shuts you down, they do. When they can't, they don't. And if they can't do it to me, and I'm just citing the law, the labor law, then they can't do it in court. All they can do is stall and try to frustrate you and try to, like, you know what I mean? That's all they can do. And you gotta remain a thorn in their side until they say, fine, here's what you want. Not but what you want, but it's probably not what's owed to you, but here's what you asked for. And if they fire you, they fire you. Fuck it, bro. Nobody be barking at the tree. Nobody be barking up the right tree. You know what I mean? Everybody in this world be quick as hell to fight you if they think you took something from them or something like that. But they won't go to war for their own money. Like, you feel me? They won't go to war for their own money. Like, when it's like a company, you know what I mean? When it's like on corporate stuff. That's what I'm like. I don't know why people understand corporation is a form of the image of the beast. Hey, that's what it is. That's why America is a corporation. It's a pyramid scheme, and they use the dollar pyramid. When you think about corporations, it is a scheme. See, they're doing what Egypt did when they were running slavery. You know what I'm saying? But now it's just high tech. You know what I mean? Like, now you can't, like, there's no way you can escape from the law in America. You got to be a fucking super spy to do crime and get the fuck away with it for any extended period of time. And the simplest things be criminalized, like plants and shit. Like, oh, you're making, like, you could sell, I'm not even talking about drugs like marijuana or plants that are toxic. If you make significant money selling motherfucking tomatoes that you're growing, the government is going to try to step in and take money from you and say you haven't paid your taxes. That's a crime. So they criminalize not giving them money that they didn't fucking earn at all. You know what I mean? So they can use your money to fucking sit on you. And that's what's going on. And that's what's going on. It's just a world full of freaking pretenders and disingenuous people, and they're unintelligent too. Like, I'm not even trying to shit on people because I'm upset or anything like that. I'm just saying they're unintelligent and unarticulate, especially when they think their thoughts. Like, I don't know what's in them, but the spirit that's put in our head and the spirit that's in their head and their soul ain't the same. So Kendrick said it the same. They not like us. And the ones that are, maybe they are like us. You know what I mean? Because some of them, it's not everybody, but some of them it clicks right away. You start to explain something and it's like keys start to roll. You just started unlocking shit because it's that shit they mind wonder all the time. But the righteous wonder about things of the scriptures. You know, we're not like those hypocrites in the community that claims to be us, that pretend to love scripture and pretend to study the Torah all the time, and they be reading the Talmud. And now the Talmud is not Torah. You know what I mean? And when you start to read the Talmud, you understand what them people are doing. Yeah, I smoke cigarettes. It is sick. All right, guys, I've been on live for 41 minutes, and so far I've been up and I've been down. And HR is human resources, bro. He said, "What's HR?" HR is human resources, bro. And I know HR is protecting the company, but that's why. But you got to put them on notice. Like, everything is for protecting the company. The company don't got no anti-company shit. You know what I mean? They don't even got. They don't want nothing regulating them. They don't even want the government to regulate them. Even though our company needs regulation, it needs to be regulated. It needs to be regulated. It needs to be broken up. It's almost a monopoly. Oh, all right. Fucking mosquitoes. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks for even tuning in. Anyone who made it here is gonna know that it's gonna be members only. But for the people that are members, I'm gonna drop some previews like while I'm still editing of my next research drop. It's about the 7 churches. I started to tone it down on where they are. I'm eliminating the location for Smyrna. People should know this. I'm gonna drop some truth right here, because the 7 people that are watching this stream are the only people that probably really care about this and deserve to hear this. Smyrna is in Smyrna, Delaware. I put the whole circuit of the 7 churches on the I-95 corridor, or 95 I think it's I-95. Sorry, yeah, I'm starting to forget. But people have seen it in the thing. But look, people have seen it in the community section a little bit, but it not a lot of people even like that. I even traced it down with the plants, because I told y'all about the Asa Gray disjunction and all that stuff. I told y'all about how all these plants in Asia have mirror replicas in this eastern area of the United States, and how America's the geologically oldest continent, so of course the plants are older. We got fossils of those plants right here in America. So it was easy for me to start to trace down and slim down with that and primary sources where Asia is. And I'm gonna tell you right now, my hometown is ancient Sardis. When you look up Sardis, and I'm from Trenton, New Jersey. When you look up Sardis, Strabo describes it particularly, because Strabo traveled the Royal Road through Lydia from Sardis to Philadelphia, and he wrote about it in book 13 of his geography. And when you look at the geography, Philadelphia and Trenton were on the same river system, same exact river system, right? Not Trenton. Philadelphia and Sardis were on the same exact river system, the Hermus River System, Hermus. And this river system was basically a road. It had a road that ran aside it that crossed over to Trenton. And when you look at the description that Sardis, when you look at the description Strabo gave, and you match it to ancient Philadelphia, which we already made a video about, we already match. If you didn't watch the video, I don't know what to tell you. That's why it's called the Open Door City, because it was allowed to keep its name. They weren't allowed to change it. You know what I'm saying? Upstream, the next capital is Trenton. From Philadelphia is Trenton. And then the ancient, geography, upstream, the next capital city was Sardis. You know what I mean? So I started putting 2 to 2 together. And Sardis was Trenton's a mud flood, building. If you know anything about the Tartaria conspiracy, Tartary, Turks, if you know anything about that conspiracy, Trenton is a mud flooded, it has this big palace downtown they call the Capitol buildings, covered in gold, in the dome, all that stuff. And Sardis was one of the places where, the legend of King Midas came from. And he washed himself in the river and the creek inside the Sardis, which would be Trenton, you know what I mean, to wash the gold off. And that's why their river ran with gold, to wash the gold touch off. That's why their river ran with gold. So I started really investigating shit, and I found actually a lot of interesting things that shouldn't be there if it's all coincidence. But if you actually watch the video, and it's going to be like an hour long, I'm editing it, I'm going to release maybe some bits of it, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to release some bits of it for people to maybe to see before I put it out, so I can keep putting out content, especially for my members, because people, you know, people become members, you know, and that's love, bro. But if you're on an iPhone, just know that most of the money that you're trying to give to me as a donation or to fund my research or to support my channel is gonna go to Apple, straight up, and I'm gonna get like $1, if that. You know, but I'm basic with the membership, guys. I'm easy on that. I don't get a lot of people signing up and people be unsubscribing. I'm easy on that because really, like, that's what people want to support me. Like, YouTube is on some bullshit. By locking me in search, I remember when I was getting browse traffic. By locking me in search, what they did was make it so it's almost impossible to hit that threshold to get ads on your video. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but everybody would have to go show me love and rewatch like my shit and go take second looks at my content. You know what I mean? And I you know, whoever does that does that. But like, I drop a lot of truth. Like, I got videos that just defend how, like, you know, nature proves the existence of God. Nature itself, DNA. You know, I understand a little bit of code, and I understand that DNA is a complex code that retrieves information and stores and has instructions and needs these instructions to be specific for organisms to function correctly. And when they're off, you get all kinds of weird mutations and things that shouldn't happen. You know, and people will say like, oh, well, it's not, it happened randomly. I'm like, no, it's way too complex. Like, binary code, you wouldn't find a computer chip and turn it on and look at the binary code and all the coding in it and be like, this shit evolved by over millions of years. No, somebody wrote that code. You know what I mean? And everything you see that's alive has code to it. And I'm gonna be really truthful. Like, the mysticism our ancestors practice is really what they're calling like string theory, information theory, because really the world is a constant of information, and we're in an enclosed system that is essentially a creation, which I can say also a simulation of information by a creator. Okay, so if you wanted to put a scientific term to what we're living, that's why they don't want to tell you there's a fucking dome over us. That's why they want to tell you you live on a flat earth. And I know it sounds crazy and people go flat earth this and that, but bro, if you still believe the earth is a round spinning balls rotating at 1,000 miles an hour and then, you know, hurling through space at 90 million miles an hour, I don't know what to tell you, because we sitting still right now and I don't feel no inertia. And inertia is not something you can get rid of with any kind of force they made up like gravity. You know, I got videos about that. I got videos about how gravity is not real. You know what I mean? I could tell you what makes things fall. Y'all want to know? Density. Everything is density. You know, I got a cigarette in my hand right now, and when I drop it, it falls. People go, the gravity pulled it down to the ground. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard, because if this force is strong enough to pull everything down to the ground, like this car right here, which is heavier than me, and it's holding it down to the ground while we're doing all this spinning around and all this hurling through space, right? It should crush me to death. And it's not just holding that down, it's holding this building down and all the dirt and all the oceans, which weigh an incalculable amount. You know what I mean? So they're trying to say like, oh, well, at the same time, it's delicate enough not to crush a little ant, but it's also strong enough to hold this down. And I've never seen any force in nature, because I do construction and shit like that. So you got to understand forces on a fundamental level so you don't hurt yourself. You know what I mean? You want to understand force on a fundamental level so you don't hurt yourself. I've never seen any force be applied like that, ever. Any single force be applied to where I can push on this thing and I can push one spot simultaneously hard enough and then another spot simultaneously soft enough so I don't break it. Like, that's crazy. And people can't, that's why you can't model that. I had the AI build a realistic model of the world with their physics, and that's how I know their game models are off, because their physics don't work unless it's a plane. When you try to do the Earth thing and nothing works. Inertia on the planet can't be countered by gravity, and if it was, gravity should kill you. If the Earth is spinning, inertia comes with a spin, period. That's proven in a vacuum, outside of a vacuum, regardless. Inertia comes with a spin. 1,000 miles an hour. Here's the best thing, guys, because I break down. If you're rolling, if you're spinning in front of the sun at 1,000 miles an hour, how the fuck do you have a 24-hour day and night cycle happening with 1,000 mile an hour rotation going on? And the sun's supposed to be far away, shining a giant beam. And I've said this, crepuscular rays, guys. Look up crepuscular rays. Ask the AI, why do people who believe flat Earth say crepuscular rays prove the flat Earth? Then it's going to explain it, and then it's going to tell you, but it's not true because the light is simply being scattered in the atmosphere. Now, you can see light lines with your own damn eyes coming from the clouds. They're all forming like a triangle. They're what do you call it? Diagonal. So when you form a triangle around the light you see coming through the clouds, you can trace the sun back to a source, and it can't be that far. It has to be local, and it can't be that big. That should be in the clouds sometimes. I've seen an airplane video of an airplane flying over the sun, and the sun is in the clouds. You know what I mean? Like, go ask a pilot if the Earth is flat, and they'll tell you, yep, that shit is flat. Like, they'll tell you that shit is flat. You know, it's just good to know the truth and be in the truth. And even though we're still being persecuted because these people think they're going to keep our land forever, it's just good to know, like, oh yeah, because you the exact people that scripture is talking about. You the exact archetype that scripture is talking about. You've enriched yourself off the labor of others, and now you've emboldened yourself and tricked yourself and deluded yourself into thinking that you earned it. Because all the world clapped because what you were doing was profitable for them. They were exploiting you, you were exploiting us, but you were getting more. That's like being a taskmaster. You know what I mean? And I have a friend where I was trying to explain to him, he's like, I'm like, really, like all them people should either like work to repay what they did or be put to, you know, be euthanized. Let's just say that. That's the laws we should have, because stealing labor is a serious thing that leads to other sins and crimes. Because poverty leads to sin and crime, and they create that for you to live in while they scapegoat your wealth, and that's what a poverty pimp is. So I'm saying, like, it should be a serious crime, because, you know, they always talking about cleaning up the streets and what they're going to do and all these initiatives. I tell you what you fucking do. Start paying people actual money and give them a reason to live other than working a 9-to-5 in a place you don't pay them. Stop paying. Why is the whole economy optimized for profit and not for the happiness of the citizens? That's the difference between a righteous society and a wicked society. A wicked society, all their power is in their means of force and ways of forcing themselves onto you and forcing their way onto you. That's where all their power is in the wicked society. In a righteous society, the power is in the happiness of the people. It's defined by the power of the happy people. And that's why when they started out, they had all these principles that they can't keep to, because like nobody wants to talk about they hate the Constitution. They love to use it for when it's convenient, though, for them, like to protect them, but they hate the Constitution because it blocks them from doing so many things they would do otherwise. You know what I mean? Like, that's why America's fucking doomed. And I've been trying to tell people America's doomed. And you're doomed because, like, you did too much, you know what I mean? Like, you got your chance to rule the world, and how did you choose to rule the world? You know what I'm saying? How did you choose to rule the world? You know, you chose to be, and there's scriptures about it, like you made lies your refuge, and then turns out everything that you told and all those slogans and all that making freedom and all the slogans the companies say to keep you working is all a lie. It's all a lie. They're all disingenuous, nigga. They not altruistic. They can't be. You gotta keep your view. Gotta be from the outer limits of this shit. Because these people are dishonest, and all those people that think they can work their way through it, and they're like, they're gonna grow up. You're gonna be sadly disappointed because you can't keep our land, and you can't stay in charge no more because you have sinned greatly before the Most High. And the greatest sin is the cause to stumble. That's a super bad offense, and that's all they've been doing is tossing stumbling blocks in front of us. And there's scriptures about that, like, oh, them who toss stumbling blocks in front of the. That's what they've been doing. Tossing stumbling blocks in front of us. Oh, African American, stumbling block. Oh, redlining, stumbling block. Oh, the modern age, we just plain dumb, stumbling block. Oh, hide all the history, stumbling blocks. Yeah, I'm not telling people where I work. I'm sorry, dude. Like, I'm not, like, or what I do for a living. Just know that I work a utility job. One of many. Just know that I work a utility job. You know, it's not my, I'm not trying to, because then they be trying to use anything against you, and I'm not giving them things to use against me because I'm not saying their names. So, like, I'm not saying their names or describing it in detail enough for anybody to, like, figure it out. Just know that if anyone wants to. Alright, guys, now I'm really getting off alive. Y'all, thank y'all for watching. Everybody who tuned in, even if it was for 2.5 seconds, thank you.